Have you ever confronted someone about how they hurt you only for them to turn the whole thing back on you? Suddenly, you're the problem. Your tone is the issue. Their behavior gets buried under your reaction. You bring up something they did, and somehow now you're the one who's being challenged. That's not an accident. That's actually called blame shifting. Welcome to Faith in the Fire. My name is Chepren Fitzgerald, and this is where honesty meets healing. Today, we're going to slow down a little bit and focus on one thing, and that one thing today is called blame shifting. Because this is one of the most powerful, yet one of the most dangerous tools an abusive person can use. And they do. They use it often. And it's happening in our relationships today. Blame shifting is when someone refuses to take responsibility, right? They're going to refuse to take responsibility for their actions and instead make you carry the blame for their behavior. It's not just disagreeing with you. That is not it. It sounds nice. It's not about just someone switching it up and just saying, you know what, we're going to agree to disagree. No, it's not that. It's making you feel like you're the one that caused the harm, like you're the one who made them act this way, like you're the problem. Think about it. If someone says to you, or if someone says, you hurt me, and you know you didn't, you might feel annoyed. But if they say, you made me do this, and they keep saying it over and over again, then slowly you might begin to wonder, did I make them do this? Am I the one who is wrong? That's the poison of blame shifting, the repetition of blame shifting. And it's not about truth. It's always rooted in control. Abuse is rooted in control. They do their absolute best to tear you down one moment at a time, 1 hour at a time, one day at a time. And this abuse does not happen overnight. I really want you guys to hear my heart when I say that. Abuse does not happen overnight. Blame shifting actually works in 3 layers. I'm gonna give you all the layers. First, it's the initial harm. Then it's the confrontation, and then there is the shift. Hence, blame shifting. Something happens. They hurt you. They lie. They disrespect you. And then they're going to violate your trust. That's what happens when we're talking about the initial harm. Now, layer 2, they're going to cause a confrontation. You say, that hurt me. And then you say, why did you do that? And then you're also going to say, you need to own up to this. A person who is abusive does not like accountability. They do not want to be held accountable in any way, shape, or form. That is why layer 3, the shift, happens. Instead of them admitting, they're going to deflect. And who are they going to deflect it onto? You. You're too sensitive, they're going to say. You made me do it. You're the one who's actually hurting me. I've heard it. Oh, he used to say, we've hurt each other. No, I didn't hurt you. You hurt me. Have you ever heard, you're reading this wrong? You're the problem here. Now, they're not addressing the harm anymore. They're shifting. They're deflecting. They're trying to make you the bad guy. They're trying to justify themselves. That's the shift. That's what they do. They didn't just avoid the accountability. They made you the one that was responsible for their behavior. Why is this so dangerous? I know you're asking it, and I've got it all. Because, right, if we don't see the blame shifting occurring, you're going to give empathy. You're going to say, okay, I guess I've caused this harm. And then you're going to carry that guilt, and you're going to say, I'll do better next time. I'll need to work on it. But you didn't do anything wrong. You were the one that was trying to hold someone accountable for their actions. And it was your empathy that made you carry the guilt. They're using your desire for truth to make you doubt yourself. They're using your love to make you responsible for their harm. And over time, this creates something called a moral injury. The moral injury is when you start believing you're guilty for things you did not even do. That's when you start feeling shame for harm someone else has caused. When you start carrying responsibility for behavior that was never yours to carry. This is not just emotional damage. This is spiritual damage. Blame shifting happens when someone wants to be financially abusive, when someone wants to be emotionally neglectful, when someone wants to sexually coerce you. This is someone manipulating you to get what they want. And what do they don't? They don't want to be held accountable. Are they spending your money and saying to you, why did you do that? Oh, because I felt like I needed this. Are they financially abusive? Are they saying to you, hey, you're so controlling. That's why I had to go out and spend this money in secret, because you are the one that's controlling me. You're the problem. Do they ignore you for weeks? Girl, sir, I could tell you about the many, many times that the person that I was with gave me the silent treatment on purpose, and then told me, you're too needy. I'm dealing with stress. But this person did not have the emotional regulation, knowledge, accountability to even come to me and say, I'm dealing with some things. I need some time. No, it was you made me do this because you're always demanding. It's not always your needs that come first. You're being too needy. Family. Blame shifting is so that they do not have to take accountability for their actions. They don't show up for your birthday and they say, didn't you say you don't like birthdays? No, it was you that said you're not too into birthdays. And that was just preparation so that they don't have to do anything for your birthdays. Family, blame shifting comes in a cycle, and it creates long-term damage. The harm occurs, you say you hurt me, you name it, you tell them, you go to them, and you say, hey, we need to have a conversation. Then they're going to shift it onto you, make you feel like you're the problem. You begin to start wondering and doubting, am I actually the one that's wrong? You apologize, and that's where they get you. And then the cycle repeats. The cycle is going to repeat. And this is how abuse becomes normal. it gets normalized. You start believing that you're the problem, and that's what they want. You start apologizing for things that you did not even do. You start carrying shame for their behavior. And the worst part of it, you stop expecting them to change. You start expecting yourself to change. I have to do better. I have to do better. There was even a point in time when I had asked myself, why is he doing this? I couldn't name it as blame shifting, but I knew that every time I brought up an issue, he would say, yeah, but you did this. They didn't want any accountability. They were very defensive. Yeah, but you, Chepren, you did this to me. That was their fear of taking accountability, their defensiveness of taking accountability, their need to take control of what was going on, and their lack of empathy that continued the cycle of this abuse. This is often rooted in attachment trauma and their child neglect. And while we cannot get into that subject right now, that's still not an excuse. It's not an excuse to say, oh, well, they did this, this is what happened to them, so therefore this is why they are. No, family. We are adults. Guess what? We get to take accountability for our own actions. Blame shifting doesn't just hurt you, it hurts your soul. You lose trust in yourself. You start doubting your own memories, your own pain, and your own truth. You lose a sense of self-worth. You start believing you're the problem in every single relationship. You lose your sense of safety. Have you ever felt unworthy? Blame shifting causes you to lose your peace. You carry guilt that was never meant yours, never meant for you to carry. And then finally, at the end of it all, you lose your sense of identity. You start changing yourself to avoid the blame. So, how do we break this cycle of blame shifting? Recognize it. Recognize it. The moment you bring up an issue, do not let them deflect. Name it. This is blame shifting. Don't let them call it miscommunication. Oh, we just have some miscommunication. Don't let them call you too sensitive. Name this tactic and stay the course. Write it down. Because sometimes when we are dealing with abuse and we start to blame ourselves, you lose sense of reality. Because this person who is causing this abuse wants you to believe what they want you to believe so that they can control the narrative. Family, step number 3, stop explaining yourself. You don't need to explain your pain. You don't need to justify your feelings. When they say, you made me do it, don't argue. Don't explain yourself. That is not my responsibility, is all you need to remember. That is not my responsibility. And then we have to set some clear boundaries. If they keep shifting blame, limit contact, limit the conversations, limit the access that they have to your heart. Yeah, but Chepren, I live with them. You can still put up a boundary. I didn't say a wall. You can still put up a boundary. Put a boundary in place is probably a better way of expressing it. You don't have to stay in a relationship where you're blamed for their harm. Family, when this is happening, they're doing it for a reason. And maybe the reason is not visible at the moment. But over time, this blame shifting causes you to lose your sense of what is real. And if they can continuously blame you for everything that's happening, your empathy is going to make you jump through some serious hoops. And they're doing it on purpose. They're doing it on purpose because they want to control you. They want to control the outcome. They want to control the narrative. We have to reclaim our truth. Write it all down. I didn't make them do this. I didn't cause the problem. I am not guilty. Write it down. And if at any point in time this gets to be too much for you, I would sincerely hope that even when you're in it, that you would find someone, some professional help to help you as you go through this. There's nothing wrong with talk therapy. There's nothing wrong with speaking with someone about your relationship issues. There's nothing wrong because they might be able to see something that you cannot. They might be able to see the abuse better. We need witnesses, family. We need people to help us to understand what is the real issue, the underlying issue, what they are seeing going on, the shift of it happening. Truth stands, truth is clear, and truth is free. Thank you guys for listening. I pray that if you have gotten any help from this podcast, that you would share it. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. Comment. And if any one of you is in any immediate danger, call your local emergency services. In the United States, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is available 24/7 at 1-800-799-7233 or online at thehotline.org. Subscribe to Faith in the Fire so you don't miss any more of these episodes where honest healing meets I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Where honesty meets healing. There you go, family. There you go. Enjoy the rest of your day, and let's continue growing